What's up, guys? Cici in the gold lane is super strong right now, but a lot of players still aren't aware of it. Like this Sylvana teammate of mine. First, she wanted to switch lanes with me, and even before the game started, she already said someone's going to get reported again. So who do you think she was talking about? Well, let's find out. I'm up against Granger here in the gold lane. Actually, there are pros and cons when these two face each other. Granger is the best marksman right now, but Cici is one of the best heroes overall. Granger has the advantage if Cici doesn't have Vengeance, but if she does, Granger is at a disadvantage, though it still depends on the player and the timing of their skills. Cici hasn't received any nerfs since she became meta, so she's definitely strong right now. She really looks like a bully in most of my games because she can handle almost any side laner, whether it's in the EXP or gold lane. She's still strong in the EXP lane, but if you've been watching the MPL playoffs, you'll notice that Cici is seen more often in the gold lane than in the EXP lane. That's because teams want an EXP laner with crowd control who can set up plays for them. They want CC, so they don't want Cici in the EXP lane. But her damage is just too strong to ignore, and right now she really shines more in the gold lane. Her sustain and damage are unfair for a gold laner. She's very hard to gank or kill even when left alone in lane. That means there's no longer a scaling burden in the gold lane during the early game, which is a huge help for her teammates since they can focus on other things instead of babysitting the gold lane. But she's not the type of hero who's strong early game and then falls off in the late game. Even when the match reaches late game, her damage is still strong thanks to her first skill, which deals HP-based damage. She might be the best gold lane fighter right now. But personally, whenever I use Masha and face Cici in lane, I can handle her easily. Masha is kind of a counter to Cici because, technically, she only has 3 HP bars. The good thing about that is that item or skill effects based on HP only calculate from 1 HP bar. It doesn't get tripled. That's why HP-based items deal lower damage to her. The downside, though, is that HP-based regen or any positive HP-based effects don't benefit Masha as much either, since the effects are also reduced. In the early game, you should already join team fights because you can contribute a lot during that stage. It's like you're still playing an EXP laner. You're just in the gold lane, but the playstyle should still be that of an EXP laner. You need to play aggressively in your lane since you already have the advantage. Her item and emblem setup are basically the same as EXP lane Cici. Don't even try building full damage on her, because she needs cooldown reduction and sustain. She's not the kind of hero who needs full damage to deal big numbers. A hybrid build is enough. Try to reach 40% cooldown reduction as much as possible with items that give her more than just CDR, like War Axe and Brute Force Breastplate, which are her core items. For gold lane, I like adding Hunter Strike, then you can choose between Oracle and Queen's Wings. Those 4 items already give you 40% CDR, and that stat has a huge impact on Cici. So yeah, we actually won this game. Now let's see who Sylvana was talking about when she said someone needs to be reported. By the way, for the last 2 items, you can go for 2 defense items depending on what you're struggling against, magic or physical damage. Or you can go with 2 attack items or 1 attack and 1 defense. It really depends on the situation. If you know what you're doing, you'll be able to figure out in your games what adjustments you need to make and what items to build. In this game, the enemy was also using a fighter in the gold lane, which was Ruby. But the problem with that setup is their jungler was a utility type. It would have been fine if the enemy jungler had damage, especially since Ruby has almost unlimited crowd control and insane sustain. Looking at their lineup, their sustain was really solid. Every one of them had their own self-sustain, plus the extra sustain and shields that Matilda provides to her teammates. That's why their team was so hard to kill if you look at their composition. But at the same time, they also struggled to kill me because they lacked damage, while I could still kill them as long as they weren't grouped together. And in this game, I actually didn't build boots. I rushed War Axe, then Hunter Strike. You'll see later that I also built Malefic Roar and Sea Halberd for maximum penetration, since the enemies were tanky, and Sea Halberd to counter their sustain. I chose to build Sea Halberd instead of Dominance Ice specifically in this game. You might wonder why Sea Halberd since Cici doesn't rely on basic attacks, so it might seem like the attack speed would go to waste. But the thing is, the enemy didn't have a marksman, so the passive of Dominance Ice wouldn't be fully maximized either. At some point, the extra damage from Sea Halberd would still trigger against other enemies like Arlott and Fredrin, since they definitely have more extra HP than me. The problem with Dominance Ice is that its Life Bane effect only activates when enemies hit you, which is a big downside when you're the one initiating the attacks first. That happened a lot in this game. Also, I needed that extra physical attack from Sea Halberd because the enemies were extremely tanky. Here, it actually turned into a 3v5 fight. I didn't even notice it during the game because it didn't feel like we were outnumbered. But even though the enemy had more players, they were still the ones who ended up dying. This shows Cici's strength. If you can't burst her down quickly, she'll just recover her HP. And taunt skills aren't that effective against her either, especially when she's using her first skill, because the one who taunts her will still take heavy damage from Cici. Something really impressive happened here. But before that, the enemies were grouped up under their turret, and our mistake was diving in. I also made a mistake because I thought I could escape using my second skill, but Ruby's stun hit me perfectly. I ended up taking too much damage from the turret, and then Sun landed a 5-man crowd control, which was actually insane. But still, we lost that fight. So the Lord was up, and we were outnumbered again. But honestly, I didn't even feel it. And we actually won this fight, which was the perfect opportunity for Sun and Hayabusa to take the Lord while I was buying time here. Except, Hayabusa just wandered around and Sun got frozen. Like what? Is that even possible? Sun's supposed to be too hot to get frozen. Sun was literally spamming recall at the base, bro, GG. Meanwhile, Hayabusa could have started taking the Lord at the 13-minute mark. He could have definitely secured it. But never mind, he clearly had a different plan in mind. Apparently, it was fine for him not to get the Lord at that point, because he said he'd win the Retribution battle instead. What Sun did here was actually really good. Here, 4 of the enemies were already wiped out, and Hayabusa and Lunox could have easily ended the game if Arlott hadn't managed to recall. I was already on my way there, but bro, Khalid should have sacrificed himself and stopped Arlott from recalling back to base. But he didn't. So the enemies almost managed to defend because Lunox got killed. If it wasn't for Cici being insanely strong at this point, the game might not have ended right there.
Victory!